everybody. Hey everybody, it's Yasmin here. I think you can hear me. I think you can see me by the magical technology of Olivier. We are here, and actually my entire team, I have to say, including the wonderful Aileen and Nina and Mark and Sahib, the king of the world, Lakshay, everybody. Thanks guys for getting me here. So this is actually probably my favorite day of the challenge, which I don't want to put you off and then you're not going to come back tomorrow, because I do want you to go all the way through. And just to say, we will be doing eventually the dark moon together, dark moon ceremony, and then we'll do the new moon ceremony together as well. But this is kind of my favorite day of the challenge because it's the one where I saw the biggest changes in people, and I was absolutely gobsmacked that I could do something that would help people to this extent, is the honest truth. Hopefully you have your PDF. If you don't have it, it's in the files section of the Facebook group. And yeah, it's a big day. So you need to get your courage up, is what you need. And you need to go all in, as they say. And we will be watching the video. It's much shorter today. It's only 26 minutes, but it's super powerful. And I'm going to be doing it with you as always. And yeah, so without any further ado, I'm going to switch over to me from this time last year. Here we go. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. So this morning when I was looking on Facebook, I saw a message from someone who said something along the lines of she's just broken up with her husband, or she's just separated from her husband, and initially she didn't want to split up from him, and now that she's having some time by herself, she's thinking, well, maybe this isn't such a bad idea. And she was like, well, now I don't know what to manifest, because on the one hand I wanted my marriage to get back together. Now I'm actually thinking, well, maybe it's not that bad the way it is. What do I do? So my response to her is my response to everybody who has a similar question, not just about their marriage, but even if you just don't know what to ask for. And my response to her was, why don't you manifest being happy? Being happy in yourself, being at peace in yourself. Okay, and happiness is not about external factors. It's not about if this person's being nice to you or your marriage is going well or whatever. Obviously, there are some situations where no one would be happy. And life goes, in peaks and troughs. But overall, all things being equal and barring any, anything really terrible happening, happiness is in here. It's a state of mind, and it's, even if SHIT happens, so what I did yesterday, just going to tell you, I chose, so I had one thing in mind, which is a work thing, and I thought, oh, do I really want that? I don't know. So then I went back to my kind of thing, another thing, which is sort of something I've been working on for a while, and I wrote out what I have to do. It's like a roadmap, as our fearless leader Boris would call it. So it's like a roadmap. It was really good. I thought, okay, well, that's actually quite a good plan. I can follow that. That's going to work for me. But so I did that yesterday. But then today when I went back to it, I thought, you know what? I do actually want that other thing. And I just need to put some welly into it. So I went back, and having said only do one thing, I actually took another pen. So it was really clear that this was a separate thing. And I do think I can do them both at once because they're quite different. And again, it's just like, as Boris would call it, those of us here in the UK, Boris Johnson, our PM, is always talking about the roadmap out of the coronavirus lockdown. And I have a plan for the roadmap. And so, but this is our roadmap to where we want to go, okay? It's our roadmap to where we want to go. So there you go. Step one of my financial freedom, my manifestation long-term goal. So, if your long-term goal is financial freedom, you know, that's good. So, you know, there's financial freedom. Here's where you are right now. So what's the first step? You know, what's the first step? So, you know, often it would be something like, you know, while continuing on in your day-to-day 9 to 5 job, because you're going to need money to pay the bills, first step will be to add a side hustle. So, you know, for example, I got this beautiful necklace sent to me by someone who does, I believe the name is Piper Elliott on Etsy, and you know, she does jewelry, and I don't know if that's her full-time job or her part-time job, but you can start to do things on Etsy, or, you know, it used to be sell stuff on eBay, but, you know, there's always ways to, you know, if you want to be a healer, you can't just quit your job. So step one of your roadmap would be just, you know, free up Saturday afternoons for 2 hours to take on my first client. And then number 2 would be find my first client. And then number 3 would be decide what to do with my client. You know what I mean? It's like a framework. It's like a value ladder, or a step, or a ladder that takes you. It's actually, you know, I mean, honestly, I think this is all divinely guided, because I could never have come up with all this stuff. I think that I've been divinely guided to help share it, you know, because it's about creating little things at a time. Little things at a time, celebrating every win and going, you know what? This is good. This is good. I've taken the first step. I'm doing this. Okay, now let's do the next step. Oh my God, I'm doing that too. All right. And then as you start to see yourself doing what you need to do on your journey to manifesting, you start to congratulate yourself, because you see that it's actually happening. I'm manifesting to be free of fear, illness and negatives in the current climate. Okay, so that is wonderful, but your affirmation is in the negative and it should be in the positive. So it's not free of fear, it's fearless. It's not free of illness, it's healthy. It's really important, because it's like if you go to Google, I used this example the other day, but if you go to Google and you type in free of fear, what you'll probably get is a whole lot of stuff about fear. If you type in don't go to Italy, chances are you're going to get 1,000 stories about how to go to Italy. The universe is like Google. It works on keywords. So if you're saying free of fear, it hears fear. If you say free of illness, it hears illness. So free of fear, fearless. Free of illness, healthy. Got the picture? All right, we're going to do 3 chakra clearing chants, just because, as Alicia said, I need to breathe. And then we'll get into it. The why self-worth is so important on this manifesting journey. All right. Thanks everyone for being here. I've been absolutely loving our sessions, and I hope you have been too. A couple of people have been saying, how long are the videos staying up for? They're staying up for 48 hours, which is our attempt to keep you doing them so you don't get complacent and think, oh, I'll do them later. But also to give you enough time across the time zones. Okay, but if you miss one, it doesn't mean you know it's all over. It's not the end of the world. And if you're in my Sun, Moon and Stars membership area, we are putting them in there afterwards as a kind of a mini course, so that you can always just tap into all this information. All right, so now let's chant. I'm going to do 3 chakra clearing chants, and then we're going to get into why you need to know you're worth it. So here we go. I'm going to start with 3 Om Namo Narayanis, which means I surrender to the Divine Mother. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Hari Om Nam Lam Mam Yam Ham Shiva Ram Swaha. I think that'll do us. That's the chant to clear our chakra, so we're all clear. Oh, thank you, Monique. Grab the offer when it comes. Thank you. The SMS is worth it. Yeah, the SMS is an amazing group of people, and we're constantly looking at ways to make it even better in this section. All right, here we go. Knowing you're worth it. So this is going to be your homework, but I will get to it in a minute. All right. So, smashing through self-limiting beliefs. This is what we're going to talk about today. We are talking about smashing through self-limiting beliefs. In today's workshop, I want to get the essentials of what has been holding you back from fulfilling your true life purpose. So a very wise woman, Sonia Choquette, once told me that the biggest block to manifesting is self-doubt, okay? So if we doubt ourselves, then we just don't think we can manifest. And I would add to that, it's also to do with self-worth, okay? Because if you think you're not worth it, then, you know, obviously you're not going to manifest it. So think of it like this. What you're manifesting is exactly what you think you deserve, all right? I know that's hard to believe in some cases where there's very difficult things going on. And especially with illness, it's very hard to think that anyone deserves to be ill. That illness is kind of another story altogether. And if you are struggling with it, I say with love and compassion, please read Louise Hay's book, Heal Your Life. Okay, that will explain everything in a way that I can't do it within this context, okay? But in terms of manifesting, you know, situations, health, wealth, happiness, a new job, a new car, a new lover, a new spiritual teacher, the money to go to a meditation retreat, to write your own book, all that stuff, it comes down to self-worth and limiting beliefs, okay? So one of the problems about growing up is that we all grow up with a set of parents. Usually we have two, if not two, we have one at least, normally, or in some cases, including in the cases of people I know, they've just had a guardian, because I'm thinking of someone whose mother left and whose father felt he couldn't cope, and so this child was shunted off to his aunt, basically, to grow up with the other kids in the family. But what we're told when we're growing up has a huge effect on us. Now, this is not about going into some kind of blame game on our parents, okay? And it may not even be our parents. It may be, you know, what that mean girl at school told you, or it may be what your first boyfriend or girlfriend told you. And it may be, you know, whatever it is, we have mental blocks and we have doubts and we have limiting beliefs. One of the most powerful hypnosis tapes I've ever heard is by a guy who, honestly, overall, I'm not sure I'm that massive a fan. He's okay, he's pretty good, but I'm not like going to recommend this guy, you know, 10 out of 10, but his motivation tape, I know really changed my life. And so maybe I should recommend him 10 out of 10. And it starts off with, he kind of whispers. I used to listen to it at night, and he's whispering, imagine you're walking along a beach and all the mean things that have ever been said about you are written in the sand. And then a wave comes along and washes it all away. And it's such a powerful imagery, you know, because we do have people saying things to us. You're annoying, you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're fat, all those things. And let me just dismiss all those things, because, you know, and you dismiss them too. Just go like that and dismiss, dismiss or cancel, clear, delete, 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 okay? Because I don't want to put them in your aura either. But we have people who say things to us, or, you know, we have situations where we fail, we screw up, we fail, it happens. And then we can start to really blame ourselves. And the problem with that is that that becomes a self-limiting belief. So we start to think, oh, my, you know, by the way, my parents were amazing. So that's, I think, I always feel the only reason that I'm sitting here talking and you're listening, you know, like the only reason I'm sitting here is because my parents were and are, my mum's still around. My dad passed away about 14 years ago, but actually about 16 years ago now. God. The only reason I'm sitting here is my dad was a psychiatrist, so he understood about mental health, and my mum had studied and got a HD, high distinction, in psychology. So between the two of them, I think they knew not to fill me with negative self-fulfilling prophecies. And so I feel like in my life I have had, you know, that much less SHIT to work through, because I wasn't having to work through all the terrible things that my parents told me when I was growing up, because they didn't tell me terrible things. And if you're a parent, especially if you're you know, a parent of a young child, it's never too late to start. But just, you know, think about that and don't pass on any negative things that your parents gave to you, you know, screaming at you. Don't scream at your kids. And if you're pregnant, this is perfect, because, you know, you're hearing it now before you even start. Okay, so negative beliefs, self-limiting beliefs, are exactly what they sound like. They are something that holds us back from believing we're worthy of our goals, okay? So, I mean, if you want to write a book and you have a negative self-belief that I'm not good enough, my grammar isn't great, and who wants to listen to what I've got to say anyway, there are 3 self-limiting beliefs that are going to stop you right off the bat from doing your book, you know? Just say you want to open your own Reiki business and, you know, your parents told you, don't be ridiculous, you've got to get a proper job. Or your husband says to you, you know, what do you think? I'm made of money. I'm not going to support you. This isn't going to work. What the heck are you doing? You know, they're the things that come in, and sometimes we just do it to ourselves. Who am I to think that I can do such and such or so and so? Okay, so this is why we need to think about what self-limiting beliefs we have. All right, what self-limiting beliefs we had, and why you have to know that you are worth it. All right, so we need to shed light on what we have been told about ourselves by others and how this has shaped what you now believe about yourself. And, you know, hanging on to anger and saying, my father did this or my mother did that, you know, if you're now 40 years old and you're still blaming your parents, it means you haven't done the work yet. So you need to go and do the work. And that might be by reading that book, for example. So one thing my dad taught me, he was a cognitive behavioral therapy psychiatrist, okay? So his basic premise as a psychiatrist was, what you believe to be true is true for you. What you believe to be true is true for you, which is kind of like the law of attraction, except that he came up from a kind of a medical scientific view, and I obviously come at it from a more cosmic woo-woo view. What you believe to be true is true for you. And one of the things he taught me when I was growing up that I'm very conscious of, and I actually try and teach my son, but, you know, kids, they don't want to listen. I probably shove it down my son's throat a little bit more than my dad did it to me. But he used to talk a lot about negative self-talk, okay? So that's when you sit there and you talk negatively to yourself, like saying things like, I'm going to keep dismissing them, okay? I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. No one will ever love me. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't deserve this. I'm stupid. I don't have brains. Everyone's better than me. All those negative things, delete, 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 delete. Okay? They impact our psyche. And that's why whenever, in this family of mine now, whenever we say anything negative, I'll show you what we do. And I can guarantee you, my whole family does this, my husband and my son and me. And my husband was not woo-woo when I met him. He's become much more woo-woo over the years because he's seen it works. Like he's a really smart, intelligent guy. And, you know, he just has seen it working, and therefore he can't say it's not true because he's seen it in action for, we've been together now about 14 or 15 years. Okay, and my son has grown up with this. So when we say something negative like, oh, I know that's not going to work, we all go, wait, dismiss. And this is something I learned from a meditation teacher. I mean, you don't have to do it like that. I literally put my hands between my boobs. But you can just put your hand to your heart chakra and you go, dismiss. Okay, do it with me wherever you are. You don't have to go into your clothes if you don't want to. I'm just a bit obsessive. Dismiss. Okay, one more time. Dismiss. Now, why do I do that? And why do I recommend that you do that? Because when you have a negative thought, it kind of goes into your aura and you end up with this aura or this energy field that's packed with all these negative self-limiting beliefs like that we've discussed. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not this. I'm not that. Dismiss. Dismiss. Okay? Dismiss. And what you're effectively doing is you're taking that emotion that you felt out of your heart chakra, out of your energy field, and you are literally throwing it beyond your energy field where it can be transmuted into the light. So it's not in your energy field, okay? The other way, this is Doreen Virtue's method. She goes cancel, or she used to, cancel, clear, delete, which is kind of similar because in a way you're kind of whacking that out of your energy field with that last pass. So it's really, really important to be aware of these things because they will block your manifesting, okay? You can do all the lists in the world. You can do all the, what we did yesterday about what you actually want to do. And if you think you're not worth it, if you think you're not worthy, you are not going to manifest it. Because your secret limiting belief will be, I don't deserve this. I'm not good enough for this. I'm never going to amount to anything. Cancel, clear, delete. Cancel, clear, delete. Cancel, clear, delete. Okay? So, yes. So what I'm going to ask you to think about is what have you been told about yourself? And what do you believe about yourself? What have you been told and now you believe it? The way I was taught it is in every upset, there is a set up. Get it? Upset, set up. Every upset is a set up. All right. So what do you gain from being too scared to make your dreams real? I mean, obviously, for one thing, you're staying in your comfort zone because it's easier to stay where you are than to, fly. And you need to think, what is the setup in my upset? What am I gaining from staying stuck? You've got to answer that clearly and be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, do you have a fear of failure? I have a fear of failure, but it kind of works for me because it keeps me doing what I need to do. I have a fear of failure, so I meet my deadlines. I don't know if that's exactly the fear of failure that other people have, but that's kind of what I feel like with fear of failure. Fear of failure, I think, is different to fear of success. Do you have a fear of success? Do you have a fear of being singled out? Do you have a fear of putting your head above the parapet? Work on that. So, now we've got the That's BS exercise to do. All right, we've got this exercise to do. We're not going to do it now. You need to do it as your homework. But it says, knowing you're worth it. Today we talked about moving beyond limiting self-beliefs. You have hopefully started to realize what they might be and worked out what BS you believed that was holding you back. Okay, so this exercise is called That's BS. So if that is BS, if those negative self-beliefs are BS, all right, then okay, that's BS. What's the truth? The truth is, okay, so after we've finished, I want you to fill that out, all right? You don't need to write down the limiting self-beliefs. You've already hopefully worked them out in your head. You don't need to write them down. We're not focusing on the negative, we're focusing on the positive. You know what your self-limiting beliefs are. Okay, if that's BS, what's the truth? And then here you've got the truth is. All right, so I want you to write the truth. Okay, you need to do all this stuff to get through your negative limiting self-beliefs, so that you will be a more powerful, deliberate manifester, rather than manifesting stuff you don't want because of limiting self-beliefs, because what you put out there is what you get back. So if you think you're not good enough, you'll get back, I'm not good enough. Dismiss. All right? Okay, dismiss. And for those of you who are, high achievers, I would like you to record yourself in the group or on your page saying, I used to have a lot of negative self-beliefs, but they are BS. The truth is, and just speak into the camera. You can do a live in the page. You can do a live on the Manifesting Challenge page. You can do it on your own page if you dare. Make sure you do hashtag Moonology Challenge so we can find it. And also hashtag I'm worth it. Okay, so your video is something along the lines of, you don't have to name them, okay? I used to have a whole lot of negative self-beliefs. They are BS. The truth is, and you tell us, okay? And we are going to send a deck of cards of my Moonology Oracle cards, signed, or whatever you want from any of my books or products, including, if you don't have it, it's all sold out now, as you know. We have a couple of copies of my Moonology Diary left. So if you want a copy of that, or a copy of my book Moonology, or my Mercury Retrograde book, or Astrology Made Easy book, or a deck of my cards, we're going to choose a winner, and you tell us what you want and we will give it to you. So there you go. That's going to be for the person we choose who records themselves saying, I used to have a whole lot of negative beliefs about myself. They are BS. The truth is, let us know, okay? And the homework today is to fill this out first, okay? Fill this out. And once you fill this out, you will know what to say when you do your video, because it's going to be what you've just written. The truth is. So what is the truth? All right. Okay. All right. The hashtags are, and I will put these. I need to write. Actually, Olivier, if you're watching, or Nina, can someone write down the hashtags so we know what to watch? First one is obvious. Hashtag Moonology Manifesting. Moonology Manifesting. And the second hashtag is I'm worth it. So I am worth it. Or one word hashtag. All right, so there we go. We need to do all this stuff on our journey towards the new moon, because we need to clear all this SHIT out and embrace all the positivity. Yesterday we cleaned out the CRAP. Today we're putting in the good stuff, because you're worth it, okay? So there you go. Lots of love. Elle says, fantastic, very powerful. Well, you guys are the powerful ones, all right? So well done. Well done. Okay, do your homework. It's BS. The truth is. And then do your video, and we'll be awarding a prize, at least one prize, maybe more. Lots of love, guys. Have a beautiful day. Hello. I remember to turn the sound on. Amazing. Okay, so this is, like I said, my favorite day of the challenge. If you are just joining us today for the very first day, you know what? It's fine. Do day 1 and day 2 if you can, but if you can't, this is where the rubber meets the road. Do your That's BS thing, and do the recording as well if you can. Last year, seeing you guys doing the recording was honestly probably the most rewarding and fulfilling thing I've ever seen professionally, ever. No pressure. Just, if you can say, I used to have all these negative beliefs, they were BS. The truth is, I am whatever. Do it in the group, do it on your page, whatever you do, but put the hashtag Moonology Challenge, hashtag I'm worth it. It's going to be transformative. All right, So I won't go on and on and on. I will leave it there, and I'm going to say thank you for joining me. I'm just going to cover mine up because I've already written some of my stuff down. I told you I'm doing it with you. There's mine. All right, so I will see you in the group, and I will see you tomorrow as well, but mainly I'll see you in the group. So now I have to wave a bit because when I have to leave a bit of a buffer apparently. This is my final see you later. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here, and well done you for being here. Truly, well done, because this is big stuff that we're doing together.